Hey, if we haven't met already before, my name is Aliana. Nice to meet you. Thank you so much to everyone who left really lovely comments on my last video where I sat down and had a little bit of a chat. Typically on this channel, I actually post original music and cover videos, but I thought I would sit down again and speak a little more, this time about why I left my job as a corporate lawyer at an international law firm. Firstly, nothing that I say in this video will be specifically about the firm that I used to work for. I actually feel really lucky to have met some genuinely lovely people there, and I still have a lot of really good friends that work at that firm too. I am hugely grateful for the experience that I had when I was working as a corporate lawyer. I don't have any regrets, and if I could do the entire experience again, I definitely would. I am assuming that most people that watch this video aren't in the world of corporate law, and so if I use any unfamiliar jargon, I will do my best to either explain it in the video or maybe put little captions somewhere. There are tons of lawyers out there, both practicing and non-practicing, and I am just one of them. Nothing that I say in this video is meant to discourage anyone from wanting to join the profession. It just might make you think about things that you hadn't considered before. Also, if you are a practicing lawyer and you feel a certain type of way, maybe in a similar way to how I felt, then I hope this video is of some comfort to you. Finally, I have tried to film this video so many times. I was visiting my dad and tried to film it there, but I just couldn't find the right space to film it. And I now have this really bad cold that I can't shake, so I'm really sorry for sounding so congested, and I will probably sneeze multiple times throughout this video, so apologies in advance. Okay, all good? Let's go. Why did I even want to become a lawyer in the first place? I had my first taste of the legal world in the 5th grade. This is back when I was living in the US in elementary school. We did this module on criminal justice. I can't remember what class it was for. I guess we were 10 or 11 years old at the time, but we went on a field trip to our county court, which was actually pretty cool. We got to, sit in on criminal proceedings, but they also took us to the county jail.
You're stealing, right to jail. You're playing music too loud, right to jail, right away. You're driving too fast, jail. Slow, jail. You undercook fish, believe it or not, jail.
I don't know if it's appropriate to bring 10-year-olds into a jail if they're not visiting relatives. It was a really weird experience. But actually, the end of this module culminated in a mock trial. And I remember I was the lead defense lawyer in the trial. I had to defend a drunk driver who hit a cyclist. Again, a really weird thing to ask a 10-year-old to do. But I remember feeling really exhilarated by it all. It was then that the seed was planted in my head, maybe being a lawyer is something that I want to do in the future. I also really enjoyed and was good at school. I really wanted to get the best grades for myself as I possibly could. And I think, like some other careers, a career as a lawyer when you're younger is seen as something to aspire to, especially if you are a high academic achiever. I've always enjoyed puzzles and problem solving, and I'm not gonna lie, but Legally Blonde was also a bit of an inspiration for me. There was just something really nice about a hyper-feminine character who works really hard, no gaslighting, no gatekeeping, just girl bossing to get to the top of her Harvard law class.
You got into Harvard Law?
What, like it's hard?
As a teenager, I moved to the UK, and I actually chose to study law both as an A-level subject and as my bachelor degree.
A law student.
When I was at uni, I didn't necessarily put a lot of thought into what kind of work it was that I wanted to do. I just knew that I wanted to be a part of the best firm that I could possibly be a part of. I secured my training contract in the summer after my second year of uni at the age of 21. What the hell is a training contract? A training contract, or a TC for short, is a 2-year period of on-the-job training that law graduates complete with a law firm before they can qualify as a solicitor. Since I started my training contract, there's actually been an alternative method introduced here in the UK, the solicitor's qualifying exam, but I don't really know anything about that, so I'm not going to touch on that here. Typically, the 2-year TC is split into 4 seats of 6 months each. These are rotations so that you can experience different areas of legal practice and different areas of the firm. You're then graded on each seat that you do by the lawyers in that team, and those grades are partially what determine whether you will be offered a job in that team at the end of your training contract. Before I started my training contract, I did have some reservations about whether this career would be suitable for me, but I figured because I had applied and was offered the opportunity, I may as well just put my all into it and make the most of it. And I actually enjoyed a lot of what I did. As I mentioned before, most of the people that I worked with were great, and it was a pleasure to work with them. I also really enjoy drafting. I love legal research. Sadly, just due to the nature of what seats I was given, I didn't get the chance to do too much of that. But when I did, I really enjoyed it. But as time ticked on, there were 4 main problems with the profession as a whole that made it harder to justify to myself that this was the best career option for me. Problem 1, uncertainty over my own time. They say that lawyers are money rich and time poor. And I was aware of the long hours going into the profession, but what I wasn't aware of was that to an extent, you are always on call. I think every lawyer can relate to the feeling of that dreaded dinner time email from a client or maybe a more senior lawyer telling you to drop everything and work on this critical item. And sometimes this was genuinely urgent. Crises do come up. Sometimes it was poor time management. Sometimes it was just a client setting unrealistic and unreasonable expectations. As a result, it was very difficult to make concrete plans, and this applies to all manner of lawyers, from the most junior trainees to the most senior of partners. I will confess though, I think I had developed a pretty bad habit of not establishing boundaries surrounding my time. I am inherently a people pleaser, and I could have been better at making sure that I carved out time for myself. Problem 2, the billable hour. Law firms are selling lawyers time. That's the product. And the billable hour system is where the lawyer records how they spend every minute of their working day to calculate how they bill the client. This is billed in 6-minute increments, so in tenths of an hour. If an email took you 4 minutes to draft and send, then the client is charged for the full 6 minutes. Billable hours are becoming less relevant now for charging clients, but they're still used internally to track how busy you are. And you'll also have target billable hours, so a target that the firm sets for you as to how many billable hours you should be completing in a week. Let's say 40, just for this example. So if I've performed 36 billable hours in the week, then I have performed 90% of my billable hour target. I technically have capacity to take on an additional 10% of billable client work. The billable hour system always made me feel really anxious. I don't inherently like people know what I'm doing minute by minute. I don't really post on Instagram stories for that reason. I think I realized that I would just prefer a job where I was given a deadline, and as long as I could do that work to meet that deadline and be trusted with that, then I could just get on with it in my own time. Problem 3, the golden handcuffs. If you don't like the job, you could get stuck there because of the salary. And I appreciate that having money is not a problem in of itself. I think it's just how you use and deal with that money that can create problems down the line. For example, one senior lawyer once told me that if he was having a difficult time at work, or maybe he had just completed a grueling deal, he would go out and buy something for himself that was expensive or outrageous. I think that rewarding yourself after working hard is occasionally a good thing, but I think if you're constantly doing it to try and make yourself feel better or to try and numb something, it can become a pretty dangerous habit pretty quickly. Problem 4, not being fulfilled. And this is the big one.
Law school debt, daily regret, is that what you dreamed of as a kid? Or did you hope one day that you find a way to spend 4 years working on a pharmaceutical company's merger with another pharmaceutical company?
I remember having a discussion with a senior lawyer about career progression and careers in general, and he told me that he thought that people tended to become lawyers when they didn't know what else they wanted to do. And this comment sat in my soul for a long time. We've all heard the mantra, find a job you love and you'll never work a day in your life. That's unfortunately bullshit, and I think unrealistic for 99.99% of us. But I do think it's important to find a job that energizes you. You're not gonna love it every day, but you're also not gonna wake up in the morning and absolutely dread going to work. Now I've had some time off from working, I was able to kind of distill what it is that makes me feel fulfilled down to its base level. And I think the two things that make me feel fulfilled are helping people and creating art or being creative in some way. And I was able to help people working as a corporate lawyer at an international firm. And I did take some fulfillment from helping my teammates and doing the best job that I possibly could. But corporate law is a professional services industry. The deals that you're working on are your clients' ideas, and your job is to grease the wheels and facilitate those ideas. I never really felt like I had any ownership over the end result, and so whenever we would reach the end of a deal, as well as feeling exhausted most of the time, I never really felt a sense of achievement. And that's just me. But I've also worked with a lot of people who feel completely the opposite, who really do feel that sense of accomplishment. The other crucial thing that was lacking for me was the creativity aspect. And obviously, I knew full well going into corporate law that I wasn't going to be spending my days painting or singing or writing. Well, actually, I did do a lot of writing, but just not in a creative or literary way. I was having dinner with a partner one evening, and he told me that he wished he had been able to pursue something creative in his time. I really didn't want to, look back in 20 years' time and have a big what if hanging over my head. Going forward, if I'm able to restructure my life to prioritize those two things which make me feel fulfilled, helping people and creating art, then hopefully I will not have any regrets. So, what's next? Like a lot of the world, the economic situation in the UK is looking pretty bleak.
I am so random, I can't believe I just did that.
Although I would really like to establish a creative career in the long term, I know this is going to take a lot of time. And unfortunately, I cannot live off my savings forever. So, gotta get that bread. And I've actually decided to go back into law, but work part-time. I gotta heat my flat this winter, and I'm also taking a different approach to the way that I'm looking at jobs. I want to do something that is fulfilling and challenges me, but I also want to not build my life around my job, but to make my job work for my life. This way, on the days that I'm not working in an office, I can pursue my creative interests on the side and create something that is entirely my own, which is my music. And I've realized that if in a year or two I want to reconsider this plan, that is absolutely okay. As long as I can prioritize and make time for the things in my life that make me feel genuinely good, then I'm good. If you're still watching this far into the video, thank you so much for listening. I'm going to keep posting original songs and cover videos a little bit more regularly from here on out, but I might include a vlog style video or a sit down and chat style video every once in a while, just to keep you up to date. And I also really enjoyed editing and making the last one, so I hope you enjoy watching them too. Let me know if you have any questions, and take care, and I hope to see you soon. Bye!